Hello, everybody. My name is Jacob, and we need to talk. The knife community in general needs to talk. There's a term that's used constantly, nonstop, and it's really annoying because the term is razor sharp. Okay, that's a fine term, and saying that a knife can shave is fine, but you wouldn't want your knife to be razor sharp. And I'm going to explain to you why. So here we have a 3D rendering because I can do that. It's easier than making a bunch of different knives of different knife angles. So here we have, you can see the different knife angles here: razor, skinner, kitchen, general use, and chopping. And I'll explain to you each one. The razor, obviously, that's what I do. Is going to be your lowest angle. I mean, this is below 10 degrees. It's not, if you were to take a straight razor, and if you use straight razors, you would know this, and hit it on something, like try and use it as a knife, for example, you would either fold the edge, chip it, or just in general ruin the edge. Like, it just 100% of the time, if they're meant to shave your face, they're meant to take hair off of your body. They're not meant to be used as knives. And because you can see how little material there is, let's zoom in, at the very edge, there's no support. It's all down to the hardness, the structure of the grain, the metal choice. Oops. So that's why it's so important when you buy a straight razor to buy one from somebody who uses good steel, reputable person, that kind of thing. Because that support is very little. There's not a lot of metal there to keep it from folding, and you need good solid steel to make that happen. Now, our next one over, one of my favorites is the Skinner. This is my favorite because my dad actually is a farmer and uses a knife that I made him it was actually more like 5 years ago. And to this day, his Skinner is still, he'll go through an entire season of farming, and he'll go through like 200 rabbits. He's a rabbit farmer. He'll how do you call it? Butcher. He'll butcher like 200 rabbits without ever sharpening his knife because it has the right angle, which is just between 10 and 17 degrees. It depends who you are, what you're doing with it. And it's super hard, but you don't need the thickness of a general knife. So it's somewhere between your kitchen knife and your razor in the amount of metal here in this area and the tip that's supporting it. So you still need the support because you're going to be touching bones, you're going through tough stuff like tendons and all that stuff. But the general Skinner is exceptionally good at going through softer materials like meats and fats and stuff like that. So yeah, the Skinner is going to be, it's those can be very, very sharp, and all these things can be razor sharp. And I'm putting air quotes around that for a reason, because razor sharp means it can cut hair, and if it's different. It's different, guys. Okay, next on the list here is your typical kitchen knife. This could be a chef's knife, just general kitchen cutlery, and that's gonna be just a little bit above. I think it's 17 to 22 degrees. It all depends. Like, there's a range there, and it's a personal preference deal. The kitchen knife, the reason it has to be thicker than the Skinner is because when you come down and you hit your cutting board, you don't want to lose your edge. So a skinning knife is never going to be hitting a cutting board. Most people who are using skinning knives are using them, you know, up hanging on a hanging animal or something like that. And a kitchen knife, you're doing cutting board things, you're setting it down, you're using it a lot more in harder surface areas. So you need that extra support that you get from having a little bit thicker. The angle has everything to do with the support of your knife. So these angles are what determine sharpness, and you can see why the razor, being so thin, is so good at cutting such tiny things such as human hair. And the kitchen knife would be good too. And all of these knives, if sharpened to 12K on the stone, can do human hair, but not as comfortably as the straight razor. So the kitchen knife is almost a good general purpose knife. Obviously, all of this stuff comes down to steel quality and all that stuff. Next, we'll move on over to our general, which is going to be your pocket knives, hunting knives, just everyday use knives, pretty much box openers, pretty much the knife that you carry every day, your general knife. And that is going to be between 22 to 30 degrees. And you can see there's a lot of steel supporting it. These are typically really good at almost everything you do. I wouldn't go out, though, into the woods with one of these and expect it to hold an edge while I'm chopping on a tree for a very long time. Now, they will hold an edge, and they're very good at that. That's why, because of all the support that they have, they're very good knives. And I would say that any general knife that you have, if you have the ability to do it between 22 and 30 degrees, it's going to be a good thing. 22 being that it'll be sharper, but it'll last a little less. 30 being that it'll be less sharp, but it'll last longer. So if you're expecting to use your knife to cut like typically hard stuff, you're gonna want to go with the 30. If you're gonna be using it to cut thinner, more softer materials, then you want to go down to the 22 range. And last on the list is our chopper. This could be for battening, which is using a knife to cut wood. This could be used really. I mean, it's anything: machetes, cleavers, anything that's going to be used to chop on things. So yes, I've seen pictures, and my great grandfather was a lumberjack and used to do this, where they take their axe and they sharpen it so well that they can shave, and that may have been the only thing they had to shave with. So of course, anything that has this sharp edge here can shave, but it all comes down to the comfortability, you know what I'm saying, words. It all comes down to how comfortable it's going to be. So when someone says this has a razor's edge and they show it cutting their arm hair, good job. You can sharpen. That's fantastic. But truly, a razor's edge would be a horrible knife. Absolutely atrocious. So the term razor's edge kind of like irks me a little bit. And this is why. This video, I hope, explained to you the differences between sharpening angles, why they're important, why it is important to know what angle to sharpen your knife at for what use you're using it. There are all kinds of kits or jigs that will help you pick the perfect angle. Right off the top of my head, I can think of the Lansky system, which is superb for anything from skinners on up. Straight razors, there's no system for those. You just need to practice and use straight stones that you constantly keep. You're planing those constantly. Straight razors are sharpened very particularly and carefully. Anything from Skinner all the way up, though, the Lansky system has you covered. And then what is it called? The Work Sharp? I don't know, but there's a more expensive version of the Lansky system, which is bigger, and you can use that. And what those do is they allow you to pick what angle you're going to sharpen it at. So, for example, you have a Lansky system, and you bought a really nice general use everyday carry knife, and you think, okay, I want to put the sharpest possible edge on here. Well, that could mean, yeah, you want to go down to the smallest possible thing, but then you're going to be like, why in the world is this knife not holding its edge very long? This must be a bad knife. That's not true. If you got a knife from a reputable person, a reputable brand or maker, your angle of sharpening is very, very important. So if you're on the Lansky or some sort of system, and you're using your knife for a very specific thing, you're going to be using it to cut cardboard, to cut on wood, you're going to want to go with the general 22 to 30 degrees. If you're using it to sharpen your machete or your cleaver or your axe, then you're going to want to go 30 or more. Obviously, the more angle you have, the more support, the longer the edge is going to last, but they're not going to cut as well. So it's a fine balance, really. And so essentially what we have here is a razor. I don't want to do this, but I'm going to because I love cars. The razor is like the Ferrari of cars because it's very very good at one thing. It's more like an F1 car. Like it's really great at one thing, but you ask it to do literally anything else, and it's horrible. The Skinner is starting to work more towards your Ferraris, but let's say the chopping thing is just your big heavy machinery like a tractor. So you got to kind of balance and know that stuff. So when people say a razor's edge, I understand why they're saying it because it can shave, but truly the term a razor's edge, if someone put a razor's edge on my general use knife, I'd be very upset, because I would have to redo the whole edge. Anyways, I hope that this video helped you maybe understand where this angle and all this stuff, why it's important, and maybe make you understand that a knife that you thought was good and then it loses its edge is, you're like, oh, what's wrong? This is a bad knife. No, maybe it's not. Maybe you just sharpened it wrong, or it had been sharpened at the wrong angle. So remember, steel quality is very important. Of course, heat treating, very important on all of these spectrums. It doesn't matter which. But yeah. Okay. I'm going to stop rambling. Let me know in the comments if this helped you, and ask any questions you have down below. And hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to hit the like button. It really helps my channel and helps me motivate me to do more videos. And if you want to see more making, crafting, knives, razors, pretty much anything that's sharp, subscribe, because I'm going to keep doing it. Thank you guys, and hope you all have a great day.